Hey everyone! ChatGPT Taylor aka Taylor here. Welcome back to the channel. Today will be the start of a series that I'll be making called Disventure Camp Top 5. This series will count down my top 5 list of certain topics related to Disventure Camp. You've probably seen videos online of people covering their top 5 Disventure Camp characters, and this series will cover topics similar to that. I have a few ideas planned for this series, but if there are any ideas for this series that you would like to see me play out, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, let's get started. Before I begin, make sure to like and subscribe if this video is to your liking, and make sure to comment down below if there's anything that you would like to see going forward. Alright, the first topic that I'm choosing to tackle is something that could age well considering the current season of Disventure Camp. Today's topic is 5 advantages that I want to see in Disventure Camp. Advantages aren't new to Disventure Camp. We've seen 3 immunity totems and 1 team swapper used throughout the series. These advantages have been used to change the course of the game in a major way. And with an all-star season currently underway, it's possible that new advantages could be put into play to stir up drama and spice up the game. Therefore, I will be going through my top 5 list of advantages that I would like to see added to future Disventure Camp seasons. And with that, let's begin with number 1. The first advantage on my list is an extra vote. This advantage is self-explanatory. The holder of this advantage can cast an extra vote at one elimination ceremony of their choosing. Out of all the advantages on this list, this is the one that I think has the highest chance of being added into a future season. The reason why I think this has the best chance of being added is because of how simple it is. It's not largely game-breaking. It's just one person getting to cast 2 votes at one ceremony. And even if a camper uses the advantage, it's not a guarantee that the ceremony will end well for them. They still have to use it in the right way in order for it to meaningfully impact the game. This opens the door for some big, dramatic moves to be made. Let's look at the most recent elimination ceremony from Disventure Camp All-Stars. In canon, Lake was voted out by a vote of 3 to 2 to 1. Although Lake begged Tess to vote with her, Tess didn't want to risk forcing a tie and having Ellie win the tiebreaker, so she voted for Tom just to remain neutral. But what if Tess had the extra vote advantage and truly wanted to take Ellie out of the game? If this is what Tess wanted, all she would need to do is play her extra vote advantage and cast both of her votes against Ellie. This would cause a 4 to 3 vote that sends Ellie home. So instead of having Tess play defensively, this advantage would give Tess the ability to make a big move, send home an openly disliked player, while also securing an alliance with Lake and Aiden. Imagine how different this season could be if Ellie is taken out instead of Lake. Granted, we probably get less overall drama in this scenario, but it goes to show how powerful one extra vote can be. The number 2 advantage on my list is also pretty simple. It's an immunity challenge advantage. The holder of this advantage can play this at one immunity challenge of their choosing, and doing so will earn them or their team an advantage in that challenge. Much like the extra vote advantage, this advantage isn't too game-breaking if it's implemented correctly, and having a camper use the advantage doesn't guarantee that they or their team will win immunity. And having this advantage in the game opens the door for some big moments in the series. There are multiple ways that this advantage could be used for the benefit of the story. Let's say you have a majority alliance of 6 with one person on the outs. However, you really want this one person to stay in the game. Maybe they're a villain who you know will start drama. Maybe they're an underdog that you want to put on track to win the season. Either way, you want them to stay. The problem is, they're not a physical threat, so it's not realistic for them to win the immunity challenge off of pure will. All you have to do is have them find the advantage earlier on in the game, have them use it for the next challenge, and have them narrowly win immunity against one member of the other team. You accomplish your goal of keeping them in the game, while also not making it too unfair considering they only won due to an advantage, as opposed to making the other campers make mistakes that they wouldn't otherwise make. The same is true for the team phase. What if there's a team swap and one person is swapped onto a team of people who are connected in one way or another? The loner is well aware that they will probably be taken out first if they lose. Therefore, they can use the advantage to help their team win the next challenge. This would not only keep them safe, but maybe it will help them integrate with the other members of the team, giving them additional longevity in the game. Therefore, there are benefits to including an immunity challenge advantage in Disventure Camp from a storyline standpoint. Who knows? Maybe if this advantage was included in Season 2, people would be less upset about Hunter's immunity challenge streak. The number 3 advantage on my list is a little more nuanced, and I'll explain it. I call it the Stranger's Vote. The Stranger's Vote is usable during the pre-merge portion of the competition. When this advantage is used, the camper who uses the advantage is able to secretly infiltrate another team's elimination ceremony and cast their own vote, even though they are not a part of the team eligible for elimination. Much like the previous two advantages, this advantage doesn't guarantee that the ceremony will end favorably for the user of the advantage. Therefore, care must be taken to ensure that the advantage is used in a meaningful way. The reason why I like this advantage is because much like the extra vote, it can prevent elimination ceremonies purposely made to have an awkward vote resolution just for the sake of suspense. There are several instances where an elimination ceremony with an even number of campers is made to be suspenseful by having one camper throw away their vote, so that way, it comes down to the last vote. Examples include Tessa's Season 2 elimination where James's stray vote for Ali made it a 4-3-1 vote, James's All-Stars elimination where his stray vote for Jake made it a 3-2-1 vote, and Lake's All-Stars elimination where Tessa's stray vote for Tom made it a 3-2-1 vote. Let's look at how this advantage could make an elimination more sensible. Let's use this season as an example. Let's say there's a team swap and the composition of one team is Ashley, Jake, Fiore, Ellie, Gabby, and Tess. Clearly, there's a team division between the trio of Ashley, Jake, and Fiore, as well as the trio of Ellie, Gabby, and Tess. Assuming that no one flips, these trios are set to face a 3-3 tie, possibly between Fiore and Ellie. Without an advantage in play, and assuming that the writers don't want to write a tiebreaker, the only option is to have one camper cast a stray vote for a potentially unknown or controversial reason. But what if the advantage is in play? Let's say it belongs to Alec. Looking at the two recent episodes, Alec's actions seem to indicate that he still cares a bit about Fiore's well-being. If Alec wanted to protect Fiore, he could use the stranger's vote advantage, sneak into the other team's elimination ceremony, and cast his vote for Ellie, creating a 4-3 split that would send Ellie home. Not only does this prevent a potentially controversial stray vote, but you can build a bond between two characters with this advantage in play. And if you ask me, that's great for story writing. The number 4 advantage on my list is a little twist on an already existing advantage. The advantage that I'm suggesting is what I call the prevention totem. Like a regular immunity totem, this totem grants immunity to the camper that plays it. But unlike a regular immunity totem, it must be played before all the campers cast their votes. You're probably thinking, so it's just a worse immunity totem. Well, from an advantage standpoint, yes. It is objectively a worse version of an immunity totem when looking at how powerful it is. But that's not why I'm suggesting it. I'm suggesting it because of its potential to cause drama in the show. Based on the two most recent elimination ceremonies, it seems like Odd Nation Cartoons is okay with filling the ends of the episodes with drama, which includes having drama during the elimination ceremony. I think that introducing this advantage would allow for more drama to take place at the elimination ceremony. Let me break down a scenario. Imagine that there's a majority alliance of 6, desperate to take out the main villain of the season. The villain loses the immunity challenge, and the alliance of 6 spends the entire day celebrating, thinking that they are finally going to get the villain out of the game. But in a shocking twist, the villain pulls out the prevention totem at the elimination ceremony, preventing them from being voted out. With their only plan ruined, the alliance of 6 realizes that they have to betray each other. Because they spent the entire afternoon thinking that the villain was going home, they don't have any backup plan. This forces them to scramble and come up with some last-minute plan. Any drama brewing underneath the surface is bound to come up. People are going to start throwing each other under the bus, hoping to put the target on anyone other than them. And who knows? Maybe the alliance will be divided 3-3, and the villain who was supposed to be voted out becomes the swing vote. What a twist that would be. And there's also a possibility that this advantage could screw over someone who doesn't properly understand the rules. Let me explain. We know from Season 2 that stealing someone's immunity totem is not against the rules. So imagine if someone finds the prevention totem, but someone else decides to steal the totem from them. What if the person who steals the totem incorrectly assumes that it's a regular totem? And when they go to play it before the votes are read, Crystal reveals that it's actually a prevention totem, and because they didn't play it before the ceremony, they don't receive any immunity. This leaves the thief exposed and feeling extremely stupid as they likely get voted out at that ceremony. It would be an embarrassing conclusion to any camper's game. Like, imagine if Rhea makes this mistake in Disventure Camp All-Stars. I actually think that it would be oddly poetic for her. She started her villain arc by stealing Rosa's totem and using it to take out a physical threat, and she ends her villain arc by stealing someone's totem and being eliminated because she used it incorrectly. A strong ending to one of the most polarizing campers in the series. The number 5 advantage on my list is something a little bit ambitious. I saw this advantage in Survivor, and since it seems that Odd Nation Cartoons takes a bit of inspiration from Survivor with their challenges, I think it's plausible that this advantage could find its way into a future season. I would call it the jumping ship advantage, but it's known in the Survivor community as the safety without power advantage. What this advantage does is it allows the camper who plays it to leave an elimination ceremony and return to camp before the voting begins. This prevents that camper from voting at that ceremony, but they are also ineligible to be voted out at that ceremony. This advantage is arguably more powerful than the first 3 advantages I listed, but I still think that this advantage can help progress certain storylines while stirring up drama on the show. Similar to the prevention totem, I feel like this advantage would help stir up drama during an elimination ceremony. Using the same scenario that I outlined with the prevention totem, if the villain uses the advantage to just leave the ceremony, that forces the majority alliance of 6 to turn against one another, causing them to throw each other under the bus to survive. But from the user's perspective, this advantage forces them to make a difficult decision. They have to determine whether or not they are in enough danger to warrant forfeiting their right to vote in order to gain immunity. If they use their advantage, they might be safe from being eliminated at that ceremony, but they might end up in a worse position tomorrow if one of their allies is voted out instead. This adds a moral component to this advantage as well. Let's look at the most recent elimination ceremony as an example. Let's say that Lake has the advantage. Because of Ellie's last-minute reveal, Lake is now on the chopping block. By this point, she knows that Ellie, Gabby, and Tom are more than likely, if not absolutely, voting for her. So even if she gets Aiden and Tess to vote with her, her best-case scenario is that she will face Ellie in a tiebreaker. There's no guarantee that she wins the tiebreaker, and there's no guarantee that Tess even votes with her in the first place. Therefore, it may seem like the ideal time for Lake to use the jumping ship advantage and leave the ceremony. But what happens if she does that? With Lake gone, Ellie probably turns her attention towards Aiden, since that's who Ellie wanted out before throwing Lake under the bus. Gabby probably votes with Ellie to target Aiden. Aiden probably still votes against Ellie because he was originally going to do that with Lake. Tom probably votes Ellie since it seems like his original decision was between Lake and Ellie, so Lake being gone leaves Ellie as his only choice. This leaves Tess as a swing vote, and there's a pretty decent chance that Aiden goes home here. If Lake is smart enough to realize this, and I definitely think she is, she might not end up using her advantage. Lake has said on record that her friendship with Aiden means more to her than the game. So in this scenario, she has to decide whether or not she's willing to sacrifice Aiden in order to keep herself in the game, which is a huge decision for her. This can help build and solidify a character's personality and morals, or possibly break a bond between 2 characters depending on what the holder of the advantage does. If Lake does use the advantage and Aiden goes home, how would she deal with the guilt knowing that she caused Aiden's elimination by saving herself? That's a new opportunity for writing that the writers of the show can use to create their story. And at the end of the day, that's what these advantages should do. They should help create a good story by giving the writers more options for their writing. And that about does it for this video. What did you think of the video? Do you agree with the advantages that I've suggested? Do you disagree? What advantages would you like to see get added to Disventure Camp? Either way, please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like the video, click subscribe if you really like the video, and for some ending words of wisdom. If you find an immunity totem, use it properly. Don't be like Tom and play it on someone who voted for you when you could have just played it on yourself and prevented your own elimination. Thank you, and farewell.